decisions in Zimbabwe, that is Tendai Biti, who has been also at the forefront in terms of fighting against 2030 term extension for Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, and most probably targeted by the regime through sending state operatives to actually hound him, has paid tribute to the gallant son of the soil, that is a bombshell, Blessed Geza, who died on the side of the masses and vowed to continue fighting on the side of the masses. Greetings and welcome to your lovely channel, the Hlonipani Global News. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to press the red or black subscribe so that next time when we beam live, you become the very first one to watch us. Let's get straight to the message of Tendai Biti posted on his X account. He says, "We mourn with the progressive world the tragic loss of comrade Bombshell Geza. He sacrificed his young life for the decolonization and liberation of Zimbabwe. He was a true soldier on the front, unlike others who were carousing and laughing in the frontline capitals of Lusaka, Maputo, and Dar." I think this is hitting Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa with a missile. His feats on the battlefield are a dense implosion of heroic mythology. He fought with dexterity, without fear and without restraint. One day they will make a movie of his legendary battlefield exploits. Yet they betrayed him. The revolution was hijacked. It ate its children. Post-independent, Zimbabwe was a massive assault on the ideas and values of the liberation struggle. The values and ideals of Ubuntu, solidarity, equality, socialism were replaced by vampirism, rottenness, greed, and banditry. It took him long to open his eyes. It took him to understand that yesterday's liberator was now today's oppressor. But he did open his eyes. He came to know that the revolution was unfinished. He came to know that the struggle had been sold to the highest bidders in the form of foreign capital, cartels, and syndicates. In his last days, he fought against corruption, banditry, the privatization and capture of Zimbabwe state. He fought against the brutal dictatorship, masculation of the national constitution. In his last years, he understood that we of the post-independent democratic order had been fighting against. What our movement has been all about, completing the unfinished business of the liberation struggle. In those moments, history conspired to make him the face of the present struggle. History made him carry a battle that was not his, but that of his grandchildren. In those months, he boldly stood out against an emboldened, clueless but vicious kakistocracy that had no shame, no morality, and no elasticity. He knew the odds against him. He knew the limitations of his actions. He knew of the vicious overreaction from his erstwhile colleagues. He knew they would hound him out like a sewer rat and would not hesitate to terminate him. That's their DNA. But he sacrificed himself. In doing so, he knew the spark he was lighting. He knew of the seed he was planting. He knew of the disruptive role he was playing. For this we thank him. For this we shall always remember him as the comrade who shamed younger generations to become the stalwart against a sordid and heinous status quo of loot and plunder. We shall never be able to fill his big shoes, but we vow to do justice to his memory by continuing his fight against constitutional manipulation and the attempt to create a kleptocratic dynasty. As the regime moves swiftly to gazette a constitutional bill that will bastardize our constitution by extending Mr. Mnangagwa's rule to 2030, allow Parliament to elect a president and push elections to 2035, we want to assure Bombshell that we will stand on his broad shoulders to resist and refuse this rank madness. We will defend the Constitution, for that's all we have. That is all Bombshell had. That is what he fought for. First, a new constitutional order that gave self-governance and dignity to the native. Later, a new constitutional order that sought to create an inclusive democratic status quo that took away power from a corrupt elite constitutional order created by his cantankerous colleagues. So as we bid Bombshell farewell, we commit ourselves to completing unfinished chapter of his life, defending the Constitution of Zimbabwe against marauders, brigands, and bandits. This is the least we can do. Go well, Bombshell, go well. So this is a farewell message that came through from Tendai Biti, quite an emotional message. Just like everybody, we've been acknowledging that Blessed Geza at one point he was aiding the regime, but he realized that this was actually not the reason why they embarked on the liberation struggle. These were not the principles, these were not the ethos governing the liberation struggle. When he realized that the country was taking a wrong route, he stood up and began to speak out against the very system that he also participated in. He understood the system, he understood how ruthless it can be. It came for him, it actually isolated him. He was betrayed by his fellow colleagues, but he decided to stand with the masses. That is what ZANU-PF does, especially when you decide to stand with the masses. So Tendai Biti joining other leaders in Zimbabwe to bid this gallant son of the soil a deserved farewell. We continue to say, may the soul of Blessed Geza rest in peace. Thank you very much for watching us. If you're watching us for the very first time, please do remember to subscribe and pressing the join button and be part of our members who are the heartbeat of this channel. You can equally do so by pressing the thanks button and send us stars.